I don't need to record yet.
Started. Thank you, Susie. I just want to remind everybody, if you're on the call and you're not a speaker at the moment, please make sure you mute yourself because there's already interference. Yep, we're back to 2020 rules. Make sure you put information in the chat. There's going to be a lot of stuff. We'll try to send out as much of this information as we can after the meeting, so don't feel so much pressure to get everything done, but we will have a lot of things that we're going to ask for you tonight. So welcome to the LD12 monthly meeting. I am Melissa Galarza. I am the chair of the district. I just want to thank you all for joining our meeting today. Oh, I thought I edited that, but it says in person or virtually, but we're all virtual today. Be advised that our meetings are being recorded. This is for documentation and reference purposes. By continuing to be a part of this meeting, you consent to being recorded. So if you have any questions or concerns, you need to let us know before the meeting begins. Okay. We have a good agenda tonight. We're going to hear from our legislators. We're going to hear from Chandler City Council. We're going to give you an update on the Arizona Abortion for Access. Sherry, will you go through and mute some people? Thank you. We have lots of upcoming events.
You're unmuted, Maren.
So we'll go ahead and get started. Nicole has agreed to read our land acknowledgement today. So Nicole.
Arizona LD12 Democrats acknowledge the land we gather on today is the ancestral homeland of indigenous nations that have inhabited these lands since time immemorial. We take this opportunity to thank the Hohokam, including the Akmel, Hohodam, Pima, and Peeposh Maricopa peoples of the past, present, and future for their traditional care of this land and their resilience. Attached to this physical space is a painful story of forced removal resulting in intentional genocide of its indigenous people. The history is important to all of us as a reminder not to cause further harm. We remain appreciative of our ability to teach, learn, and serve in a space of such importance and reverence.
Thank you. One of our biggest fundraisers at all of our meetings are our Bada Bing raffle baskets. I'm going to leave this up. While this stays up for a few minutes, I am going to ask if you are a first-time attendee to one of our LD12 meetings, whether it was in person or virtually. If this is your first time joining us, can you open up the chat, and we'd like to just put your name and what precinct you're from. If you don't know which precinct, that's okay. Just tell us what city. So we'd like to recognize all of our first-time attendees in the meeting, and Sherry will help me with that. I don't see anybody yet, but these Bada Bing raffles are amazing. I think Judy Wade and Bill Baker, they do these wonderful baskets for us. This is one of our biggest fundraisers. Joe put the link in the chat for you, but if you're a first-time attendee to our meeting, we'd like to recognize you. Okay,
we have one so far, Catherine Zurich, and she is in Ahwatukee. Welcome, Catherine.
Welcome. So Catherine, next time we see you, we have a little welcome envelope for you. It's got a lot of information in there and a few of our LD gifts that we put together for all of our first-time attendees. So I know there was a few names I saw coming into the meeting that I didn't recognize before, but that's okay. We'll still get your first-time attendees. You can still do it. The next thing we'd like to do is recognize all the elected officials that we have on our call today.
If you are an elected official, will you raise your hand so that we can recognize you, please?
Okay.
I don't see any hands raised, but I see.
Yes, Jennifer and Armando have their hands raised. Karen.
Okay, I'm not seeing any hands, so I'll go through and see who I see. Our representative Stacy Travers is on the call. Thank you for being here tonight, Stacy. I see our representative Patty Contreras on the call. Thank you. You said Armando Montero, who is the president of Tempe Union High School Governing Board. Thank you. We also have Jennifer Germain. She is Justice of the Peace for San Marcos Precinct. Who else do we have here?
Karen.
Karen Lathan, who is a constable for University Lakes Justice Precinct. Thank you.
And then I have Stacy and Mitzi. Did you get them?
I got Stacy Mitzi Epstein, our senator for LD12. Thank you for being here as well. Who else?
I think that's it.
I think that might be it. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody else on with raised hands.
Yay.
Thank you all for being here tonight.
Okay, welcome. All right. We thought we would change it up a little bit today with our meeting. We always leave the legislators for last, but I'd love to hear what they're up to as we speak. So let's start with, I don't know why I shared my screen again. Oh, Mitzi's got her camera on. Mitzi, you're gonna go first. Hey, Senator Mitzi Epstein.
Okay, I should know better than to put my camera on, I guess. Okay, so today I spent the day at the legislature for the Legislative Council meeting. And what Legislative Council does is we determine what the words should be on your ballot about the ballot questions. So all of the citizen initiatives, the referenda from the legislature, and if there are any referenda from the citizens as well, those have a description in your voter pamphlet, and somebody has to write it. Well, the Leg Council is the one that writes it, and that starts with a draft from our Leg Council staff, who are nonpartisan lawyers, and then goes to the actual council of elected officials, 6 from the House, 6 from the Senate, plus the president and the speaker. And it's designed, on the one hand, yay, it's 6-6 in terms of political party. On the other hand, the president and the speaker make it in favor of the majority. So we made some suggestions to the words that are used to describe these, especially the referrals. The referrals are the bills that the Republicans tried to pass and were vetoed. So instead, they're going to send them to the people on as a ballot question, or referrals that they just did because they knew they would be vetoed, and they didn't. They just went straight to the voters with it. So we offered some suggestions to make it more clear, to make sure that voters understand what this ballot measure is about. And by and large, our nonpartisan staff does a great job of being nonpartisan and presenting the information accurately. However, we felt there were a few things that people should know because they wouldn't know it. And for instance, a great example is there is one of the referrals changes the prison time to be more years in prison. And so the original draft, and what you will see on your ballot, says it's being changed from a class 3 felony to a class 4 felony, or from a class 5 felony to a class 4, from a class 4 to class 3. Okay, just for grins and giggles, does anybody know how many years in prison you get to spend for a class 4 felony? And Constable Karen, you don't count because you know too much. Constable Karen Lathan, thank you for that. But most voters don't know what a class 3 felony, a class 4, a class 5 felony, what that entails. And in fact, I know I was one who thought a class 3 sounded better, but it's actually worse. It's more prison time. And the draft just says they will go from a class 4 to a class 3 felony. And that is much more prison time. So we suggested an amendment to say, let's say the number of prison years. And our people who have watched these sorts of meetings for years said, you know, that's the kind of thing that would have been accepted. Very bipartisan. It's just a matter of making sure that voters can know what they're voting on. But this is the environment we're in now, where everything is so partisan that not one of the Republicans would really even bother to listen to what we said. So most of it was they didn't even want to listen. They just said no each time we put something up. That one was sad because it's about time in prison. And, you know, putting people in prison longer, you know, unless you have evidence to show that will deter crime more, then why are we doing it? Except that it makes some legislator get brownie points for putting people in prison longer. I don't know. So that kind of thing was what we were going for. There were a few other clarifications we tried to make happen. They would have nothing of it. I'm sure you'll be very interested to hear that on the abortion petition, the abortion initiative, the draft you will see will say an unborn human being. Yes, Sherry, you've got the right reaction. So we, of course, said it should be referred to as a fetus because that's the appropriate, yes, thank you, everybody, appreciate those chat points. That is clearly partisan advocacy language. That is not impartial. And the standards were announced at the beginning was that it should be impartial. So we asked for an amendment to change the phrase to be fetus, and it went nowhere. I will give Rep. Stahl Hamilton kudos for really getting under the skin of Speaker Toma on that one. And she even at one point, he feels that it's a child at conception. And that's lovely if a person feels that way, but you don't make laws about that, was our point. And so she just asked him, and as you may know, Rep. Stahl Hamilton is a pastor, a Christian pastor. And so she asked Speaker Toma, why won't you go along with this change of words from unborn human being to fetus? She said, I hear you saying you want to protect an unborn human being. Do you not want to protect a developing fetus? And he looked at her and he said, well, of course I want to protect a developing fetus. It's the same thing. And we said, that's the point. It is the same thing. Please let us change the language to be better, to be impartial. And they said no. So sadly, the Democrats voted no on many of these drafted summaries through Leg Council today, because we are worried that the language is not going to be fair, that people won't actually know what is on their ballot. So you will have 14 probably items on your ballot that are questions, 3 citizens initiatives, and the rest are all from the legislature. If it's from the legislature, you know you want to vote no on it. So those would be all the propositions that begin with a 3. Those are the no's. Those are from the Republicans. Almost all of them have no Democratic support at all. No Democratic yes votes on them. So it's going to be a great time on those ballots. I think I would recommend, I hope that we might sponsor something in the way of an information meeting from the 3 of us, Patty, Stacy, and I, about the ballot initiatives and why we voted as we did, just to inform folks, anybody who's interested in stopping by for that kind of a Zoom meeting. Perhaps we'll do that to cover those in more depth later, but we were in there fighting for you today, as we always are. It was 3 senators, Democratic senators, 3 Democratic representatives, and we made our points. Republicans disagreed, and they win. That's why we've got to get a Democratic majority, and we've got to make sure that the 3 of us get reelected, So yard signs, donations, phone banking, all of the above. Please sign up, join us. And it's a great grand old time. I know I've been out on the doors the last 3 days, and getting out in the morning, it's not too bad. You don't stay out too long and talk to a few people. So even though it's horrible by afternoon, get out before it gets to be over 100, and getting those doors done makes all the difference in the world. So I'm really, really asking, if you're on this meeting, if you can go to 5 doors in your neighborhood, talk to Angela. She'll give you a dem to dem turf to walk. Because if you can do 5, maybe you can actually do 30. And that would be a great big help. So I hope that you will want to get a yard sign. You can go to our websites to sign up for a yard sign, or call us, text, send a message on social media, whatever. We'd love to get our yard signs out there. And donations are always terrific too. That's it for me.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Mitzi Epstein. I just wanted to tell you, you mentioned something. We actually were going to do some education on what's going to be on your ballot in November. And I'm also working on some helping other districts on flipping the legislator, because I want you guys to have a majority. This is the year we can actually do it. And I'm looking forward to it. So thank you very much. Patty?
Hello, how's everybody doing out there? Staying cool. I hope it's nice that we're indoors and we don't have to drive somewhere and get hot. So thank you all for being here to this evening. So in light of what Senator Epstein was talking about, I've been talking about having house parties. So once our general election ballots drop, that we kind of coordinate somehow house parties to talk about the different initiatives and referenda that are coming up.
On my computer, but I got it on my phone.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. So that come up so that we can just kind of have a party and have a few drinks and go through our ballots together amongst your neighbors and all, and friends and family. So that's something that I've been kind of promoting along the lines. So now's the time to talk about legislation that you might be interested in, to contact one of your legislators, myself, Stacy, or Mitzi. I've been working on deed fraud. That's something that I'm going to continue to work on. And I met this week with Debbie Gottlieb, who is our deed fraud expert. She's a broker, and her dad's house was stolen, and through a deed. The criminals kind of stole the deed and stole his house. Luckily, she was able to get it back. But just a reminder too for you folks to go to Maricopa County Recorders, Maricopa, what is it called? Title fraud. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the chat to sign up for that, because I've gotten 2 notifications about somebody using my name, although they had the same middle or a different middle name. But at least I got notified that something was going on with somebody with my name. And also deed fraud is a big thing that I'll be working on again this year. But if you have any other ideas, let us know. We've been canvassing every Saturday, and I know Sherry and Melissa will probably be talking about this, but I want to thank the volunteers who've been coming out. My sister's on the line. I saw her. She was talking about my brother and going to the North Pole. Sounds like a good idea right now, 64 degrees up there. So I just want to thank all of the folks who have come out and been in this heat. And it's actually not too bad. If you go from 9 to 11, it's under 100 degrees. And we can manage that, so it's not too bad. Just stay hydrated, which we need to do anyway during the summer. But thank you for all the volunteers who have come out, and please come join us next time. Those messages go out to everybody. I know Susie's been really good about getting that out on Facebook. A couple other things. My street signs, I went out and repaired a few of them. I think I mentioned recently that I've only put 14 out. That's what I had left over before I order new ones. And for the zip ties are breaking. This heat is just crazy on the zip ties. So if you see any that need repair, let me know, and I'll go out and get those repaired. I went and repaired 2 of them today. So if you see any that are kind of on their side or kind of flipping around, let me know and I can get those changed. Yard signs too, like Senator Epstein mentioned, if you want some of our yard signs, let us know. I'll put the information in the chat too, where you can contact me to get one of my signs, so that you can put in your yard. I also have a newsletter that I get out every now and again. It's not kind of a regular basis. I kind of think it's monthly, but whenever it gets out, it gets out. But send me an email. I'll put that again in the website there. I'm sorry, in the chat. So you can get on my email list. If you're a PC, you're probably on that already. Although some of the new PCs might not be on there, so might want to get that information. Just kind of goes over what I'm working on at this point. Other than that, I thank Senator Epstein for going to that meeting today and kind of fighting the good fight. We're always trying to fight the good fight and work towards our democratic values. And we just need to make sure that we get the majority this year. And, turn in your primary ballots too, by the way, if you haven't done that already. Those of you who have received them, make sure you check that off and send those in. We'd love to see your support. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with you all today. So if I'll put some information in the chat. Thanks.
Melissa, you're muted.
Hey, thank you very much. You can see I'm having a conversation with myself. Thank you. Representative Travers.
Hey guys, hi everyone. I'll keep this brief because I know that time is at a premium. Just an announcement, Kyrene Resource Center. Francine's going to be there Tuesday, July 9th at 9 a.m. That's 1330 East Dava, next to Kyrene de los Niños. And she's got her phone number in the chat. Francine, thank you for doing that. That's absolutely amazing. So if you're looking in the chat, make sure that you get that information for Francine. Very quickly, I had my record-breaking 4th bill signed the day before we went to budget. And it was helping to allow the VA to purchase land on purchase state property for the establishment of a Fisher House, which is the equivalent of a Ronald McDonald House for veterans. There was tons of drama associated with it. It was a really incredible moment because we had everybody working together. We had Republicans, Democrats. Sonny Borelli at the last minute very kindly agreed to run it for me. And there was lots of drama that I'll tell you about at a town hall I'll be holding in September to give you all the dish. And I'll let you ask questions about bills, or about anything that you want to, because I love a good chinwag. So that'll be that. Mitzi did an amazing job today at the Legislative Council chamber meeting. I watched it. I secretly trolled everybody in texts to fellow legislators. Lots of eye rolls, lots of, I don't really believe that they're doing this. Which is why it's more important than ever to get out there and help us win the majority. In terms of knocking on doors, I don't know that I can speak for everybody, but I've been having some really good conversations. Even what you think would be maybe a more, not hostile Republican one, but I've gone to a lot of over 60, over 70s who are registered Republicans, who have been voting Republican, who are saying to me, I will never vote for Donald Trump ever or ever again. And so I think, the sort of wind is beneath our wings. So not that we're going to drop you into speaking to hardcore Republicans, but, any volunteering that you want to do, whether it's making a phone call or, if you want to be brave enough to go out with one of us and knock on some doors, you might be pleasantly surprised at the temperature of Legislative District 12. It's a really fantastic experience, and we thank everybody for everything that they do, whether it's creating a postcard, driving, knocking on doors, calling, donating, anything. It really makes it worthwhile for what we do, because we wouldn't do it without you. We wouldn't do it. It just very humbling, the amount of support that we've got. So thank you to everybody for everything, and take it away, Melissa.
Well, thank you. Yes, I have to encourage you, if you have not canvassed and you're interested in it, you come out with our legislators, you get a totally different reaction when somebody knocks on the door and our legislators are there. They are so excited to talk to somebody who's actually running. And the first things is like, oh my God, you're like the first candidate that's ever knocked on my door. It's such a good experience. So if you're interested, please join us. Up next, we're gonna hear from Laura from the Arizona, or from the Biden-Harris campaign. Laura, are you there? Oh, there you are.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on this meeting. And I feel so lucky to have talked to so many of you in the district. This is going to be my third week on the job, so I'm still really new. But I have to say, having only been here for a couple of weeks, I'm originally from upstate New York, so I came at the perfect time to experience the authentic Arizona heat. I already know that LD12 and LD13, the two areas I'm going to be working with, are the absolute best areas to be. And everyone on this call has been such an inspiration to me in the last 2 weeks. I think we all know what's at stake in November, from President Biden's reelection to having everyone, Democrats down the ballot, win, to taking the majority, to winning the school superintendent. All of those things are so important this November. And it's going to be a tough fight, but it's one that we're absolutely going to win because all of us care so much about it. So I wanted to, first and foremost, my job is to support all of you and support the work that you all are doing, because LD12 is amazing. Like, you all are superstars. But I also wanted to drop my phone number and email in the chat, along with a couple of links to sign up for our phone banks and canvases. We run phone banks to reach out to voters across the state and clean up our data 3 times a week. So we have them Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Wednesdays and Thursdays, it's 6 to 8, and it's all on Zoom, so you don't have to go out in the heat. Something that I'm learning very quickly is very nice. And Saturdays from 3 to 5, and we have Saturday canvases as well. All of them are just great opportunities to talk to voters and to do the work of democracy that's so essential, and that's the only way that we're going to win in November. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. And I also wanted to extend the offer, just seeing that in the chat, from Kathleen. If anyone wants to reach out and talk about their feelings on the election, I'm here, and I would love to chat with anyone who's interested and anyone who's available. I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now, but we're keeping the faith and we're going to win in November. And all of you putting in the work is what's going to do that, and what's going to decide the future of my family and the future of all of your families. So if anyone wants to reach out, my phone number is going to go in the chat, and I try and be pretty responsive. Monday is my day off, so you might not get a response tonight, but I promise if you text me, you'll get a response tomorrow morning. Thank you so much again for inviting me.
Yes, of course. Thank you. And we will make sure that if anybody misses your information, we'll make sure we can get it to everybody. And then if you're not, I need to make sure we can get you on our Slack channel, because we are very active on our Slack. So thank you for joining our call on your day off. Sherry.
Hello. Not a lot of PC updates, but I did just want to remind everybody who submitted their petitions with signatures and/or their write-in forms to become a PC for the next term, which is through 2024 to 2026. that we will all officially be elected on the primary ballot of July 30th. Thankfully, none of us had any precincts that were too many people for that precinct, so we won't actually appear on the ballot, but that's when the election is. And then our term will begin on October 1st. So just be on the lookout, get involved now if you're new, and we're happy to have all of our returning and new PCs, and thank you guys for stepping up to help get Democrats elected up and down the ballot. And I just wanted to make a quick reminder, Patty briefly mentioned primary ballots. Everybody should have theirs in their mail if you sign up for mail-in early active voting list. The sooner you fill it out and return it, the less phone calls, text messages, door knocking you will receive. And even though our candidates do not have contested primaries, we still need to show our support by voting the entire ballot and getting those returned. I have mine ready to return in the mail tomorrow. I saved it so I could show it at the meeting tonight, but it's going in the mail tomorrow, and hopefully I don't get a bunch of phone calls and such chasing my ballot. But yes, Renee, you have your I voted sticker. Perfect. Next up, if Francine is on the call and she wants to present her Dems Give Back information, Francine, you can unmute. I didn't see a message from you about whether you wanted to do it or you want me to.
I'm good. I was trying to sift through the messages. I don't read that fast anymore. Sure. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. we're going to Kyrene Resource Center. It's right next to Kyrene de los Niños off of Dorsey, I think. And my car's already half full, so I hope to see everyone there. You know, they need middle school backpacks. Target has sales. If you don't get around to it till next month, that's fine. There's never a time they don't need school supplies or they don't need food. So I will be at the August 8th meeting. However, I will not be available for a lot of July. So you know, you can look them up online and see what their hours are. They're a little sketchy in the summer, but school starts pretty quickly. That's all I have to say. Any questions?
Yeah, I do. Francine, do you know when Kyrene goes back to school?
Teachers go back, I want to say the 17th, but I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was in, right,
School starts on the 24th, Mitzi.
24th. Thank you.
And really quick, Francine, I don't want to jump in, but Scotty did just put a quick reminder that the Chandler City Council election, this is their election. The primary is the election for Chandler City Council. So if you're in Chandler, make sure you're voting for your Chandler City Council members, and we'll be talking to them tonight.
Okay, and yeah, we have the next one is threads, and we do have hoodies there. They also need school supplies. They're down to the basic supplies: mechanical pencils, composition books, spiral notebooks. And then they also can use shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and definitely deodorant. And that's about all I have.
All right, thank you. Upcoming events. I see Beth, you have your hand up. Sherry was trying to message you to find out. For
me
our,
or different?
yeah, you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Okay. Upcoming events. We, of course, talked about Saturday canvases. There's a lot going on in July, mainly because, I don't know if you all know, we have a primary election that we keep talking about. So Chandler City Council is on that ballot, but school board candidates did their filings. So there's a lot of stuff. we have some spotlight events that we'll talk about later, but just remember, mail your ballot back sooner rather than later, because the last date is July 23rd, and then you won't get calls from us because we are going to start phone banking and calling people. I do want to point out, we'll talk about our weekends of actions coming up. July 30th is the primary election. I do want to put one shout out. Next month we'll be back as a hybrid at the Kyrene or at the Pecos Center. But I do want to put one shout out to Arizona readers and leaders. They have a meeting coming up on Tuesday, July 16th. That's on Zoom, and they are going to be reviewing Project 2025. If you have not read the 900 pages like me, I'm going to go and listen to the Zoom and get the Cliff Notes version, because the little bit that I have seen and heard about it, it's very scary. So thank you to readers and leaders for taking the time to read it and help us understand it. So I did want to give you all that opportunity to join that Zoom. I saw Angela jump on here. She is been so wonderful to us. Angela, Angela Buer. Well, I see she's on the call, but she might be busy. We have some
Okay,
events.
I can
coming up.
talk, sorry.
Oh, there you go.
My apologies. I'm down at Sun Lakes at their meeting and so forgive me, but I had to run outside real quick. So what do you want me to talk about the Day of the Dems?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to invite everybody to come out. We're trying to get out the vote. Basically, we're going to have our 3 legislators at the Dems and Donuts, followed by a coffee chat with them. You can bring your ballots. You can come with questions that you may have for your legislators or anything else on the ballot. And then that evening, we're going to have a political trivia over. It's a happy hour over at the with raffles and prizes, and it'll be at I'm sorry, remind me where it's at. Bogies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's where normally we usually hold the watering hole Wednesdays. So it's a pre-watering hole Wednesday, because that takes place on the Wednesday the 31st, and it's the day after our primary. Every single Saturday, we have still been having canvases in Chandler. We're really trying to get out the vote and doing like a mini pilot of what our get out the vote operations are going to look like in LD12. So if you want to, be able to be a part of any of these processes, please get a hold of Melissa or myself and let us know how you want to contribute, and we will find something for you to do. And and then the Dem to Dems, yeah. And then there's the Dem to Dem project. As you all probably heard at the pizza and bingo, that we are doing cutting Dem to Dem turfs. That's basically in your neighborhood, and there's a QR code. You can request a turf in your neighborhood from anywhere from 20 doors up to 40 or 50 doors, and we'll make sure that you get literature if you want to drop lit, or if you want to canvas and knock on those neighbors' doors that are friendly.
Okay, and then last but not least, our weekend of action, get out the vote.
Oh, that's all you.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that one to you. Thank you, Melissa.
We do have a weekend of action. It's GOTV, get out the vote. We're doing canvases, launches Saturday and Sunday morning. We have Maricopa County candidates that are coming. Greg Stanton is coming on Sunday, the 21st. I noticed his name wasn't added. I didn't get that. But we'll do a canvas launch at 9:30. We'll also do phone banking, virtual or in person. You can come with us and hang with us. There's two RSVP links, one for each day. And I want to thank one of our Chandler residents who is opening up her home to do this for us. We it's so much easier when we have it at home because we have everything that we need. So thank you very much to my Chandler resident. You have to register to get the address. We will send that out the day before the event. So make sure you sign up for that. And then Sherry.
All right, next up, we are going to get an update on the Arizona for Abortion Access petition status. Melissa Westbrook is the Operations Director for Arizona for Abortion Access. She is also a PC in, I think, Scudder, and she is the newly elected president of the Maricopa County Young Democrats. Let's congratulate Melissa and welcome her and give us an update.
Thank you all so much for having me this evening. I really appreciate it. Like Sherry said, my name is Melissa Westbrook, and I'm coming to you with my Arizona for Abortion Access hat right now. In case you did not hear, which I highly doubt this because we are all very smart, tuned in people, but in case you did not hear, we collected 823,685 signatures in every county in the state. That is the most signatures we have ever collected for a citizens initiative. This could not have been possible without all of you, from knocking on doors to tabling outside of bars and coffee shops to walking in downtown Tempe and Roosevelt Row. You guys were part of this huge historic success, and you should all pat yourselves on the back. And I want to thank you all for giving me hope for the future, because, you know, it takes a village, and we're seeing that in real time. So everyone's asking what's going on next. Currently, we are going through the observation process. We had a number of folks who graciously volunteered their time and energy to be observers. I do want to take a moment to thank a few of these folks: Janet Hamlin, Joanne Marcus, Susan Ashley, Stephen Esposito, Paul Wyke, Nicole Leonardi, Angela Buer, Doug and Susan Arnold, Jerry Capo, Jeff Tucker, and Sam Garman, and so many other people who have just been so amazing throughout this whole process. Thank you for being a part of this and caring about democracy. After we're done with this observation process, like Mitzi said, we had language from the Legislative Council today. We are probably going to be going to litigation. We will be deep diving into that a little bit more this Wednesday for a community briefing. So I will drop that link after I'm done speaking in the chat. And come a month from now, we will have a proposition number. All I can tell you is that it's going to start with the number 1. But that's all I got right now for you. As soon as we know anything, we will let everyone know. We will make sure that you guys all get lit when we knock on doors after the primary. But right now, you guys get to just take a breather, or not really, because we have to get out the vote for our candidates in LD12 in the county. So apologize for that. So like I said, we're going to be doing a community briefing this Wednesday, July 10th. It will be at 6 p.m. via Zoom. We will have Jeremy Zegas with Healthcare Rising speaking, as well as Cheryl Bruce, who is the campaign manager for Arizona for Abortion Access. And we will also have Deja Fox, who will emphasize how important storytelling is. And if you have a story and you're comfortable sharing it, please head to our website, arizonafororabortionaccess.org, and submit through our website. I know that for some people, it's a very touchy topic. You know, I've been very outspoken as of 2022 about my personal experience with having a miscarriage. And, you know, that is your story to tell, and no one else can tell you how to tell it and, you know, be a part of that. So you're in control of that. But if you do feel comfortable, we would love to have your story. Like I said, I will drop the link for the community briefing in the chat. If you're able to, please sign up. If you have any questions or concerns, just contact me. I will drop my contact information in the chat as well. Again, I want to thank you all for being a part of this huge historic movement. Because of you, our state's going to be better this November. We're going to flip the legislature. We're going to get abortion enshrined in our Constitution, and we're going to elect Dems up and down the ballot. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank
you so much, Melissa.
Mitzi, you said you had one more thing you wanted to mention?
Yes, thank you. So
Oh, great.
sorry, I forgot to mention it. I do have two chatting with Mitzi events coming up in July. They are going to be on July 14th, Sunday, from 2:30 to 4 at Sunrise Library in Chandler. That's at the corner of Rural and Ray, 2:30 to 4 o'clock on Sunday. And the other one will be Wednesday, July 24th, from 6:30 to 7:30 on Zoom. You can go to my website under events and register for either one. So I hope that some of you can make it. One of the topics we'll be discussing is apartment life. These are the forums I set up in order to reach out to the 3,000 people via postcards who live in apartments to say I'm listening. So I hope you can join us. Thanks.
Okay. And it looks like somebody's asking for your website in the chat, Jay.
All right. Tonight, our special guests are Chandler City Council candidates. Tonight, we'll be having some questions with AJ Kurdoglu, who is our Democrat in the race, and he is a PC and state committee member in LD12. We also have independent candidate Cicely Rocha-Miller joining us. And I don't see OD on the call. If he hops on, then we'll loop him into the conversation. But for now, I will open it up to AJ first. For the candidates, we'll have you start with an opening statement that will be 2 minutes, and you can introduce yourself and tell us why you're running for Chandler City Council.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Sherry, Melissa, and thank you, LD12, for giving me this opportunity. My name is AJ Kurdoglu. You can call me AJ, and with your support, I'll be your next Chandler City Council member. For those of you that I haven't met yet, I believe I did, but I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My journey started in Istanbul. I was born and raised, graduated from college out there, and I came to Arizona to further my education. I got my MBA here in Thunderbird, and then after that, I realized that I already falling in love with its people and its nature. And I always say with its dry heat, that it's 117 degrees today. And of course, after that, I went through a long, stressful, but well worth it immigration journey. It took me 13 years to become a proud US citizen. And after that, in 10 minutes, I became a proud a Democrat. So since that day, I'm a proud Democrat. And of course, during those years, I started my small business here in town, in East Valley and Chandler. I met the love of my life. She's a public school teacher, Victoria. Most of you met her, I believe. She's just amazing. She supported me so much. And we purchased our home. So basically, Chandler and our community here, it's not just a place that we live. This is where I realized my American dream. And that's the reason I'm running for, so that others will have an easier and better chance to realize their own. Because where you live makes a difference. We all know that. And if you live in this in a community that supports small and micro businesses, local businesses, if you live in a community that is safe and affordable, where you can work and live at the same time, and if you live in a community that provides great public education for your family, then you have a better chance to realize that dream. And I'm so excited to work on this one to make Chandler the best that it can be, a city that is welcoming, inclusive as much as it can be, a city that provides great opportunity for people to start businesses, to raise their family, and at the end retire in dignity while enjoying this community. And that's why I am in this race, and I am so happy to have this chance with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. Cicely, 2 minutes to introduce yourself. You're muted.
There we go. Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Cicely. You can remember it due to the actress Cicely Tyson. I have lived in Chandler for, gosh, about 13 years. I'm an event planner by trade and went to ASU, and I have a degree in nonprofit administration, worked for nonprofits for many, many years. Specifically with homeless families with children, mostly running away from domestic violence situations. I got involved in Chandler and saw this as a next direction for my career during COVID. There was a build that was literally right next to my home, a 4-story apartment complex, and I was a part of a grassroots movement in my neighborhood to stop that build, and we were successful in doing so. And during COVID, everybody was very frustrated, and certainly we were divided. And so I initiated a lot of events in my community and a lot
Everything
of
okay?
What's that?
What
I'm
happened?
sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Anyhow, so that opportunity to connect with neighbors we were all troubled during that time really ignited my fire with the focus on unity. So Matt Orlando and Angel Encinas took me out to lunch last summer and said, Cicely, we know you, we know your heart, we know your passion. And I was a Democrat at the time, longstanding Democrat. Will you run for Chandler City Council? We think you're an amazing fit. And I was, very excited and honored and humbled to even consider that. Went back to my family and said, let's do this. Let's go. And so we have been working very, very hard. And as you all know, the grind that goes into it. And I do have the endorsement from our public safety, both our fire and our police. I worked very hard for the endorsement from the Chandler Chamber of Commerce. I have the endorsement of former Mayor and State Representative Harry Mitchell, along with some others. And I'm very excited about the direction of Chandler. And I think that my move to be an independent was to connect us. This is a nonpartisan race, and I wanted to do the Democrat thing, I think, and try to bridge the gaps as much as possible. So I feel a little bit of shame saying that I'm no longer a Democrat, but I am very proud of the fast growing movement of the independents. And I do think it's important to do that. So I do ask that you vote. There's 3 seats, and I do ask that you vote for myself and AJ. I think we both together would be an incredible team. And I want to say one last thing is I'm having an event this coming Thursday. It is free to join. It is in Tempe at Heidi's Events and Catering, and it starts at 6:30. I'll put the link to RSVP if you'd like to come. I'd love to have you.
Thank you, Cicely and AJ, both for taking the jump into the city council race. And we really appreciate you guys doing that and being here. We're going to take a few questions for the question and answer portion. We'll read the question. We'll give you a minute or so to respond, and then we'll go to the next person. This time we'll go with Cicely first for the first question, and then we'll switch back and forth. And we'll do as many as time permits us to. The first question that I have is, what unique qualities, perspective, or experience would you like to bring to the city council that you don't think that they currently have?
So that's a great question. I'm going to say, Sherry, that we're not walking into chaos with our city council. There's some other cities that, I don't want to call out, but that we know are in shambles. So we are walking in to a very strong council already. I think for me, from my experience, I'd like to see more outreach to the community and more clarity and transparency and accountability. I think personally, specifically when that building was going up or being zoned to go up, there wasn't enough outreach to our direct neighborhood about that. I don't think, little 3x4 postcard from some of the community was substantial enough for such a big hit to our historic district. So I would really like to champion more transparency and more community engagement.
Perfect. AJ?
A unique experience, you said. I'm a first generation American, an engineer and a small business owner who went through, hardships for 20 years in town. I mean, I survived 2008 financial crisis. Then I said, oh my God, great job. But then come COVID, but I'm still here. I'm still owning my business, and I'm proud to have that. The first thing is, as an immigrant, when you come here to this country, you build yourself. your life from scratch. And you learn how to build bridges and create relationships with everyone, regardless of their background. You understand their needs, and what you do is to get the job done. And also another point that I want to mention, as a small business owner, you understand every single dollar's importance. And with that mentality, I will be a hawk at the city council to look after our hard-earned dollars. And also as a community member, I work hard, I volunteered heavily all across, you know that, everybody knows that. And that is appreciated, the community that I built. I've been endorsed by our House member, Greg Stanton, our own legislature, Representative Travers and Contreras, our council members, Encinas and Orlando, and several labor organizations like AXME, UFCW, IBBW, Sierra Club, Realtors, and so many school board members that I work together, as in Amanda Steele, Sarah James, Patty Serrano, and I'm proud that I built this coalition, and I want to bring all this relationships and a hard work ethic to the city council.
Thank you, AJ. All right, we'll go to AJ for the next question first. And then I'm gonna see which ones are coming up in the chat, but I also have a list that we already gathered. The next one is that Chandler is among the fastest growing cities in the nation. How can you balance growth without pricing out longtime residents and businesses?
That's, Sherry, that's the biggest question. I mean, I go out since January 6th. I've been out every single day knocking doors. And this is the number one issue that I hear. People are either, hey, I'm working in Chandler, I cannot live in this city. I have young kids, they cannot move out, or they are retired, they are worried about priced out. It basically comes down to supply and demand based. We need more developments in our city. We need to create an environment where people can work and live in our city. So when this issue comes up, I'll be on the side of finding different solutions to have more supply in our city. That is the way that I believe our city council move forward.
Okay. What about you, Cicely?
Yeah, it's funny that the term affordable has been really thrown around so much. And recently, when speaking to a colleague, the word attainable is really the word that we need to focus on, because moving to Chandler and our surrounding areas, specifically the Phoenix metro area, is not even attainable. My sister is a hospice nurse working for Hospice of the Valley. Her husband owns a pest control business, and they cannot afford to live in Chandler. That is absolutely insanity, and we should be angry about that. There are limited things that Chandler can do from a city level. Certainly speak to our state legislatures and hope to make change on the federal side of things. But I applaud the direction that the city is already headed to, specifically as a daughter of a aging mother. We can now build a casita in our backyard as her own dwelling with AUDs. And so that was a new ordinance that just passed. And I, want to continue some sort of tax incentives or something. I have a lot of sadness for our police officers, our firefighters, our city employees that do not live in our great city. So what can we do, and how can we connect the two so that they can proudly live in Chandler also? I support attainable living, which in turn is affordability, and to keep focusing on education and welcoming trade opportunities with our high school students. How can we focus on making sure that they're empowered to be successful and to be able to afford those homes in the future?
Got it. Okay, it looks like Councilman Harris just hopped on, so we'll give him a chance to answer this question too. I will repeat it, Councilman Harris, if you're ready. It is that Chandler is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, and how can you balance growth without pricing out longtime residents and businesses?
Yeah, I think that, thank you for the question. I really appreciate that. And I think one of the things that we have to do is continue to look at our partnerships and collaborations with who we want at the table. I think an important part of being on council is learning who are the key partners, who can help. I think the city just recently, we had a boost of ARPA dollars, which has helped subsidize a lot of different programs. And in fact, right now we're working on federal government grants. And I think those are the opportunities that we can really look at and take advantage of, and making sure that we're continuing to maximize how can we go get money without spending taxpayer dollars and keeping our taxpayer rate taxes low and making sure that they're not being increased. Thank you.
Thank you. And then just a quick reminder, answers are a minute. Melissa has a little timer on her screen, so you guys can keep an eye on that when you're answering for future questions. I see a question in the council or in the chat from Beth Brazel asking, what are your top 2 priorities? Let's start with AJ on this one, and then we'll go around the room to Cicely and then OD.
My top 2 priorities, I would say that it's basically the priorities of our neighbors. After talking, and I want to say this, I'm so proud. Before coming to this meeting, I totaled up. So far, our team AJ, knocked 25,000 doors. 25,000, and these are doors that we knocked and we talked, and I'm so proud of it. Well, back to your question, the housing is number 1. I want to delve into it and find a solution as much as we can do for our neighbors. I mean, there shouldn't be any elected officials not thinking about this issue in every single level. That's number 1. Of course, this is a city issue. The safety is very important. But as a small business owner, I'm going to add the third one. It's that I want to help local micro small businesses.
Okay, Cicely.
Now you told me there is a timer out there. I cannot stop.
She just added it. I promise it wasn't there before. She just added it.
I literally was downloading it. I was like, oh, look, that's a timer on Zoom.
Oh,
Fancy.
Sorry, guys. Okay.
I need to echo what AJ says. I do think housing is important. For me right now, I think it's my number 1 priority is the quality of life. Everybody has heard that time and time again. And that phrase encompasses so much. Again, our city is amazing and we are headed in the right direction. And I want to keep us going that way. And that also means supporting our police, supporting fire, making sure that we're staffed adequately and that our citizens and our residents of Chandler are also getting the mental health and mental wellness that they deserve from those departments as well. And certainly what AJ says is supporting our local businesses. I think when our city thrives, our residents thrives, and therefore it's a snowball effect with being able to have a home and live here in a happy, happy place.
Councilman Harris. You're muted still. Let me see if I can unmute him. Oh. There we go.
All right. Okay. Yeah. One of the things that I continue to hear, as the vice mayor of Chandler, what I continue to hear is traffic. I'm going to echo the sentiments of what was already been said, but traffic is a huge issue and we need to face that head on. There's too many traffic construction going on at one time. What we have to do is continue to, number 1, we got to hold the construction companies accountable. Like, look, stop putting up your cones 2 weeks in advance and there's no construction going on. You want to put your cones up, you got 1 day. If you didn't build that into your budget, that's your problem. But what we're going to do is start introducing lane rentals, which is going to cut back on that. So I echo the sentiments of my colleagues, but also we have to tackle construction because that is the number 1 issue that I'm tackling right now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Another focus in Chandler lately has been teen violence and public safety. How do you plan to balance keeping the community safe while not creating unnecessary or unintended encounters with police for marginalized communities such as unhoused or people of color? I will start with Vice Mayor Harris.
Yes, so thank you for the question. One of the biggest things that I championed was the unruly ordinance and getting in front of the Preston Lord issue. That was the Gilbert Goons issue that was happening, not necessarily in Chandler, but in our backyard. And one of the things that I really push council to do is to pass the unruly behavior ordinance, which actually targets to make sure that they're not, to make sure our teens and our parents are being held accountable to what their children are doing. And what has happened over time is that the children have been getting out of control and parents have been working and building their careers. We understand that that's very important, but we also recognize that parents also need to be watching over their children. So passing the unruly ordinance and championing that was very, very important to me. And that's one of many things that I feel like has to be done, but we have to continue to stay on it. We can't take our eyes off the ball because we have some great victories in that area. Thank you.
Cicely, we'll have you answer next.
Sure. I think this is a very complex question to answer. I think our kids that are making bad choices right now with their time are dealing with major issues such as depression, high anxiety. I think COVID had a major impact on their mental wellness. And I think we need to continue what the city is doing already and connect with our schools and check in with our kids, check in with how they're doing, get them involved in sports. I want to support or continue to support our city's focus on events and with the teens in particular, because if they don't have a village, if they don't have people that are good examples, they're going to continue to get into trouble no matter what laws and ordinances we set. We have to do a better job at emotionally connecting and checking in with our teens.
AJ?
Yeah, this issue seriously, when it hit the airwaves, actually, people start talking about it, become the #1 issue for definitely in January, February, when I was talking to our neighbors, because people are like saying, oh my God, my kid is a party in someone's house. Is it safe? She is out with the friends in the parking lot. Is she safe? And we were lucky these events didn't happen in Chandler, but we need to be more proactive on this issue. I supported even before they passed that about the parties and brass knuckle stuff, limiting the use of, not limiting, but banning them. That was a great move. But I would say another point that that is important on this one, our kids needs to have a great avenues to spend their time after school hours, because we all know that it really takes a village to raise kids, and that requires a holistic approach where city, school, parents, and most importantly, parents work closely so that these kids can make great decisions. And we all know future generations and their education starts at home and their safety as well.
Thank you. Melissa has one last question for all of you guys before we wrap up. I'll give her the mic to ask it.
Okay, tell me which order we have to go into. If you were giving a $1 million grant to use for whatever you would want in the city, what would that be and why?
We'll start with Cicely.
Sure, that's a great question, and actually something that has been asked of me previously, Melissa. And I think, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? I think we are doing exactly what needs to be done, and that is servicing our community. So I really think the focus would be to present applications and ideas out to the community on where they think that money is best spent, and put a little committee together and do a Publishers Clearinghouse, opportunity and make somebody's dream come true. I really think it needs to go back into the community, into the future, and I'd love to see people's ideas on how they best see it fit, and we would go from there.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor Harris.
Yes, first of all, if I had $1 million, boy, there's a lot of stuff that goes in my mind. But I think the first thing that goes into my mind is seniors. Seniors and veterans and single families. Right now, seniors, families, and veterans have been having a lot of issues with, just trying to survive with the inflation, just trying to make it through. During COVID time, we had, we worked hard with our seniors because they were being evicted out of their homes because landlords wanted to go up on their rent. My heart is for the seniors. I think they still need more help and resources. And this next election, this next re-election, that's one of my focus areas, going to be seniors and senior transportation. And now that I'm going to be serving as the chair of Valley Metro over Rails, one of my initiatives will be seniors, senior transportation, senior housing, and senior meals and food and things of that nature, because they do really need that type of support. So I would say I'm going in for my seniors, and that is the future. So thank you.
All right, AJ.
For me, it will be helping people who are on the edge of becoming unhoused. Because helping those people not become unhoused, it is much easier than providing services afterwards. So if I had $1 million, that's where it's gonna go. Keep people
Short
in
and
their home.
sweet. Perfect. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate all three of you being here tonight. And as Cicely and others mentioned, there are 3 seats open for Chandler City Council. Ballots are in your mailboxes or should be in your hands by now if you vote by mail. We have a lot of people running for this race, and we support all 3 of these candidates because they support our democratic values. We have our Democrat AJ Kurdoglu, and Cicely and Vice Mayor Odie Harris are our independent candidates. Again, there's some wackadoos out there that are running, so let's please protect these seats and get out there and vote ASAP. Thank you guys all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I just have one more
Yeah.
request. Can you guys
Thank
put your
you.
contact information in the chat? So in case anybody wants to ask more questions or do any follow-up, we can send them your way.
You don't have to find me.
Okay. We, of course, are gonna, I'm sorry, I'm just removing my spotlights. Bada Bing raffle baskets, you've seen them in the chat. Here's the QR code. We have champagne and flutes and martinis and linguine. So please, I think you'll be amazed when you get these baskets if you're the winner. They are wonderful. So thank you again to Judy and Bill for putting them all together. We are going to be talking my favorite bylaws. Bylaws are next. I know I shouldn't sound so so great. Jeff, are you going to be talking about our two bylaws that we're going to be voting on?
Absolutely, Melissa. First, I'd like to talk about 2 bylaws that I'm proposing for August. And ultimately, those proposals are, they have not been sent out to the membership yet, but I'm hoping to do that tonight. Ultimately, what we would like to do is, or what I'm proposing, is to give early membership rights to our nominated PCs. As a lot of you know, we recruited over 104 new people in the months of January, February, March, and April of this year. And they're not going to be able to get rights, and they're going to be working really hard for us to get all of our candidates elected here in LD12 and across, the county and in Arizona and at the federal level. and ultimately, they don't have a say in our business until October. So all this time they're doing all this work, but really don't have an official vote within LD12. So what this would do is to give early membership rights, such as voting, the ability to propose motions, what have you, have all the rights of a standard PC a little bit before their time as they are officially able to, according to statute. So this doesn't violate the statute. We're able to conduct our business the way that we want to at the local level. So ultimately, what we'd like to do is give the membership additional rights before that time. So that's the first proposal that's happening in August. The second one that's happening, and boy, oh boy, this one hurts me, and has affected me and other members. When you move after the nomination process, you ultimately basically give up your nomination as a PC. And there is a gap that happens here. So let's say what happened to me, what happened to Susie Thornton and Karen Lathan. Ultimately, we moved after we had filed our nominating papers. It also happened to Joe Sealy. And ultimately, we lost our rights to being a PC as a result of that because we moved to a new precinct. Ultimately, this is affecting one person that I know of right now. That is Cedric. That I'm actually calling this privately the Cedric Collins bylaw amendment, because it is happening to you right now, and I don't want it to happen to others who decide that they want to move. So ultimately, what we'd like to do is extend the PC ability to continue being a PC, especially if you are continuing on and you have moved to a precinct in which we have the eligibility available. The reason why I have the word mostly in parentheses here, there are certain rights that we cannot convey, and those are the ones that are defined by statute. So Cedric, what you are in this situation. When it comes time for the reorganization meeting, the one thing that we can't do at a statute level is, because of the statute level law that is out there, is provide you the ability to vote during our reorganization meeting. However, everything else in terms of local chapter business or local district business, I should say, basically you would be included in, you would have the ability to vote on, etc. So basically, that is what that second is all about. The names for these, we really need new names. The first one is called the Nominated PC Bylaw, and then the second one is the Nominated but Moved PC Bylaw. So ultimately, they don't have really great naming conventions here yet, but we'll think of some good names hopefully by the August meeting, and hopefully we'll get your support if you approve of both of these motions. So we're not going to vote on those tonight. I plan to provide you with the links to where you can review these. We are hoping to have some Q&A sessions that Paul from the Rules Committee I'm hoping will graciously chair and coordinate with us. And ultimately, we'll see how this goes. So those are just proposals for the August timeframe. On the next slide, we have the July bylaws. So we mentioned these in our June meeting, and we also published the links a little bit over 30 days ago. In fact, I think we mentioned these at the May meeting. It was in person at the May meeting that we first introduced these. We weren't ready to vote on them in July. So ultimately tonight, we are hoping to take a vote on first, the state committee person election methodology. Right now, our bylaws are silent on how we vote for the state committee people. So what I want to do here is basically provide a defined route to election for our state committee members. currently the only thing that our bylaws state about elections is doing things through the RCV method, which if we tried doing, which is definitely the most fair method of doing voting. However, if we tried that, our election would last for days and days because the counting process would be absolutely insurmountable and impossible to do. So what we're trying to do is just basically institute a more traditional method of voting. We reviewed this proposal in 2 different meetings in late June and got some really good feedback and made some different changes to the initially proposed amendment. So hopefully we're happy with with what's being proposed this evening. But ultimately, it just gives us a defined path to electing state committee members. As you know, we have 259 state committee people. If we all decide that, or pardon me, PCs, 259 PCs. If we decided that we all wanted to run for state committee, we'd have a really tough election in front of us. So we're hoping to make this process as easy as possible. And ultimately, I'm hoping that this bylaw will do that. The second item is transparency protocols. This one is really near and dear to me because this is something that we are trying to get at the state as well as the county level, but unfortunately don't have the same sort of zeal for transparency as we do at the local level. And ultimately, because we don't have this in our bylaws, it was kind of an oversight, and we're hoping to correct that. So ultimately, what we're looking to do in this particular bylaw is make sure that you have the rights to know the information about the following 8 different dimensions. So this bylaw has 8 different parts to it. The first one is knowing who your other LD12 members are. So basically knowing who the other PCs in the district are. The second thing is knowing who the executive committee members are. The third thing would be who your LD12 state committee people are. Who did you elect all the way 2 years ago? We don't have a list that's out there. All of these things would be posted within Slack, behind the firewall, behind, basically secure login and such. So this is not publicly available information, but ultimately only available for the PCs and members of LD12. The other information that you should have a right to is knowing who your regional leads are, knowing what committees are active in LD12 and who they are chaired by. Another right that you should have as a PC is basically having access to the van, ultimately having us be able to provide you with the information that you need to know to sign up with the state and have access to your neighborhood, to your precinct of voters. Having access to the executive committee meeting minutes. This has never been a secret with the executive committee, but we just haven't put into place anything to make our minutes readily available. If you happen to want to know what's going on at the executive committee level, we make that possible now. And then finally, access to the bylaws themselves. I don't know that our current website has the bylaws posted out there, but it is one thing that we are, I see Susie shaking, not shaking her head. Hopefully that is something that we can add to the website, but at a minimum, have these posted in Slack so that they're available for you. So, so this transparency thing is hopefully something that's good for all of the members and something that hopefully helps us work and operate as a district more effectively and gives more knowledge to everybody. So what I would like to do is make a motion. The first motion that I'd like to do is to move that we adopt the state committee person election methodology motion. So Melissa, I'm moving that we adopt that. Would you be able to call for a second, please?
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, I heard a voice. Paul Weick, was it?
I did make that. I was one of those voices, yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm just taking notes. Okay, so the motion on the floor was made by Jeff. It was seconded by Paul. We can open it up for any questions. Okay, seeing no questions, then it goes to a vote. Right,
Excellent.
Jeff?
And the vote will be done electronically. We'll send out the election runner ballots to the members a little bit later tonight.
Okay, and when do they have to do a vote by?
Excellent question. The voting closes on next Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. And there is, because this is a bylaw amendment, our bylaws basically require a 2/3 acceptance of this, or the bylaws just stay the same. The second, oh, I'm sorry, Melissa.
I have a question. Is there, I mean, you described it as a better way of voting. Is there going to be a description of it before we vote, or are we going to get, what is that better way of voting?
Sure. So Rick, the descriptions were sent out in May, and they were discussed also in June. We can provide the links in the chat here, but they'll also be part of the voting ballot that you received tonight. So you will have the actual amendment verbiage in the ballot itself. And I can read it to you if you'd like me to, but
no, it's okay. It's all good.
It's kind of involved.
I was gonna object to that and say you could do it offline, but we'll make sure you get it for sure. Okay. So.
And the second motion that I'd like to make is I'd like to move that we adopt the transparency protocols to the bylaws.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second it.
Second.
Mary Rothschild is the second. Okay, I'll open it up for any questions or concerns. Lisa.
So I'd like to really understand why this is necessary. It seems to me that this is common sense that these things should be available, and I know they aren't, and I'm trying to understand why that is the case. And I have a lot of concerns if we do something different in LD12, that then there won't be there won't be consistency across all the LDs in the state. So what is behind this? What is really going on?
What is really going on? Basically, this is something that I'm pushing for at the county level as well as the state level. And if I'm pushing for it there, then I think we should adopt it at the local level.
But why don't we have it already? It seems like common. It seems like maybe I'm missing something, but it just seems like.
Lisa, I totally agree with you. It should be our right to know who our fellow state committee members are. It should be our right to know who our fellow county PCs are, so that when votes come up, we can lobby those members and basically try to influence votes, especially if we have strong opinions about particular issues and things that are being brought to the floor. We have basically been divided and ultimately do not have the information that we should have as voting members, and for a deliberative body, that's unacceptable. So I'm making sure that we don't follow the same pattern here at the local level, and ultimately get these adopted at the local level, and then push for them, continue pushing for them at the state and county levels.
I think this is Rick. I think having people who are elected to know who it is, who are the PCs, who are the state committee members. Okay, but you also mentioned access, that everyone should have access to the vans, and that goes way beyond elected officials. So not everyone has the best intentions. And
Everyone who's a PC has a right to basically have access to the van, and that's what is the that's what the amendment is calling for, Rick. There's no advocation for anyone outside of being a PC to have access to the van.
okay.
I'll go next. If PCs requested, we would give them access to other PCs names and phone numbers so that they have the ability to whip votes and either for or against something. So now we just have it in writing so that no matter what happens in the future, we're all protected and it's secured and it's done in a way that our information is still protected. So go ahead, Paul. Thank you for raising your hand.
Yeah, thanks. I was just going to suggest to Lisa that I think that part of why we're doing this now and why it may have seemed like common sense is that in the past, I think the technology has changed and our ability to have a private Slack channel, et cetera, to make it available is relatively new. I think it's just sort of common sense. And it's never been put into bylaws before. But once we realized that the organizations at the county and the state level were holding the information very close to their vest, it's apparent that there is a need for these type of bylaws at every level. And Rick, as far as the PCs and van access, I'd also remind everybody that PCs are actually elected officials. They are elected, and that's why we all gathered those signatures or did write-ins as well. So by statute, they are elected as well. So I think it makes sense that we're putting that into our bylaws as well.
And
Thanks,
I just want to remind you that information is monitored. So if any PC is using it incorrectly, they will get taken off. And that has happened. And they only get access to the My Voter site, not the My Campaign. So Joanne, we'll take one more question and that's it.
Yeah, I know I don't have my lights on. So has anybody talked with Chris about why they started reducing the access to the van for the PCs?
There hasn't been any, it's been like this for years. I already met with
Not that
Chris.
many years. It was about 2 years ago they started reducing it drastically.
To jump in, Melissa or Joanne, why don't you explain what you mean the reduced? I think I know, but let's make sure we're all on the same page.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know, 2016, 2018, all PCs had access to the van. And I think complete, access to look up everybody.
In the state, correct?
No, in your precinct.
Oh, just in the precinct.
Oh, okay. So
just your precinct.
Because people were misusing it. And the information
so now we
there,
want to. So why are we trying to change it back? Am I missing?
All we're trying to do is give you access to My Voters.
And I think it's to codify the affidavit, the van access affidavit process too.
That's correct, Paul.
I don't think we had that before, Joanne.
What do you mean?
I don't think that was an affidavit always required.
Yes.
Always. Back in the very beginning that I've been doing it.
Okay, good. Okay, then I'll take that back that comment.
We could schedule another meeting to talk to Chris about that. Lisa, you have another question?
Well, it's more related to this because I think van access, if I remember correctly, because now I've used the van now in 2 different states. So I'm assuming that access to the van requires a seat, which requires a payment, which is probably why all the PCs don't have access to it anymore, because there is a cost associated with that. However, I would feel better about this bylaw change if the whole issue of the van were not a part of it. at this point. The transparency issue is really the issue at play. And I would rather this issue be clearly about that and leave the van out of it.
PCs don't pay for van.
But somebody does. So either the county does or the state does or somebody does. It's not for free.
Yes, yeah, you're
If
correct.
I may, candidates pay, and we pay, and let me tell you, we pay.
Candidates do pay.
And it's good that way. Generally, it's the sort of the higher your office, the more you pay into the van as a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever we pay for the van, and I'm not even sure what that is and how that happens, but it would not increase any by giving more PCs access to the van. And really,
Yes,
we would only be giving each PC access to their precinct. We're not talking about opening up the whole van to every single PC, because we don't anticipate that they would have any need for that. So it would be just to their own precinct.
That makes it a little more clear. I think I didn't even know it was just PCs when Jeff was first explaining it. So I think the details matter here.
Actually, Lisa, pardon me, Melissa, if I may, I'll read the section 6 just so that it's very clear to everybody what we're voting on. Section 6, so they may better serve their constituents. All current LD12 PCs appointed and elected shall be granted the opportunity to receive state-provided voter database access for their own precinct, so long as those members meet all requirements prescribed by the ADP for such access. So we're not really changing any policy that has been in the past. What this bylaw actually is intending to do is to let new PCs know, if they happen to be reading the bylaw, that there is something out there called the van and that they have a right to access it, and that they basically have the right to know who their neighbors are and to have access to that database. It's really no policy change. It's just basically kind of an awareness thing that we're putting in the bylaws.
Yep. And then, look, if you don't like it, you don't have to vote for it. But we did have a couple of meetings. We had some great conversations about it. It was wonderful. So thank you to Paul and Jeff for putting that together, Jeff for putting the changes together, and Paul for running the meeting. And we're running out of time. It's already 8:06. We still have 2 more things of business. If you have additional questions, Paul would be happy to answer them for you.
Thanks, Melissa. Yes, I will.
Okay. The email will go out. We'll have till Sunday to vote for it. And we will, if you have questions, we're on Slack. We'll be happy to answer them. Okay. We have a few more things. Joe, is Joe on the call? You've been quiet, Joe. I was gonna see does he want to do the treasurer report?
He's heading to his microphone.
Having issues with my microphone.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking it out. Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, okay. The treasurer's report for June, we had a beginning balance of $830.44. We had contributions of $5,108.84. We had disbursements of $2,481.09. We have an ending cash balance of $39,458.19. Our cash on hand as of yesterday was $40,000, so $683.63. We are on track to with our budget. We're going to have official budgets for everybody. We're working on them, working on neighbor to neighbor letters, looking at purchasing more postage to make sure that we have enough for the upcoming November election. All right. this is gonna be your last call for your Bada Bing raffle baskets. I was going to, I don't know where the QR code is. Oh, there it is. Here's your last chance to purchase any raffle baskets. We're gonna do the raffle drawing. And then I don't know about Jeff and Paul, but I will be happy to stay on and answer any additional bylaws question, but I do want to let anybody else who doesn't have a bylaws question, they can do it. So here's your last chance for Bada Bing raffle tickets. And then Susie, can you make sure that Joe has the ability to screen share? She's shaking her head. Thank you very much.
All right, before I share my screen, I need to check a couple things, but and even before I do that, I just want to say thank you to all of our generous donors, and especially to everyone who donates monthly in the Bada Bing raffle. This Bada Bing raffle is pretty important to us, although we're not meeting in person this month. We actually use the funds for the Bada Bing, and we recover the cost that it does. It does cover the cost of the meeting room when we're meeting in person. So they're very helpful. And I want to tell everyone and thank you for your donations. A couple things about the budget. I just finished up the second quarter Secretary of State report, and I sent the preliminary report to our budget committee, which consists of Mark and Dana Garcia. And Melissa and I also are on the budget committee, and they are going to finish up the Q2 numbers, get them put into the budget so that we know exactly where we are at any given time between now and the beginning of November. So I'm really excited about getting the budget in place. And of course, your generous donations help in that. We did do a big push this past weekend for stamps. We brought in several $100s to purchase extra stamps before the price goes up on the 14th of July. So we'll be doing that in just a little bit. So let me get set up. Actually, does anyone have any questions before I move on to the Bada Bing raffle? I'm not really seeing any. So let me get my screen set up just a second. All right, here we go. Maybe this out of the way.
I feel like we need a drum roll every time we do this.
I know, isn't it exciting? Let me just double check and make sure no one else has donated between now and the time I was rambling on. Actually, we do. We had a couple people, so give me just a minute to get them in there. And now, of course, Act Blue is acting up. I'm going to go on mute for a couple seconds.
Okay. And thank you, Kathy and Doug, for buying last minute tickets. We appreciate it. Well, I guess I can stop his screen share, huh? There we go. Okay. I was like, we don't need to watch him put Doug Arnold's name. I see you laughing, Doug. So thank you again, everybody. This is going to be a good year. I'm very excited that we've got great things going. So once he gets that finished up, then we will do our raffle baskets, and I'll stay on to answer any additional bylaw questions. So
Melissa, can we move on to the next slide? The merchandise until Joe has all that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, thanks. Geez, I don't know why you got to be so Yep. LD12 has so much merchandise. We have cookbooks. We have name tags. I just placed name tag orders for a bunch of people. So if you order a name tag today, I will try to get it in. We have the vote t-shirt. You can have a magnet or a sticker. Just so you know that, you know, our LD12 t-shirts are nice and soft and comfy for canvassing. Is that great? Order your cookbook. We still have cookbooks left. These are
Okay,
great
everybody.
gifts.
Thanks for
Okay.
that. I'm ready. Are you ready, Melissa?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, here we go. The first one we're gonna do is the martinis and linguine. We sold 178 tickets. So let's go over here to random.org and put that in. And the winning number is number 126. So that is right there.
Gavin Lee.
Gavin Lee. Congratulations,
I
Gavin.
am telling you, Gavin, you need to buy some lottery tickets.
All right. And we sold 231 tickets to the Champagne and Waterford Crystal set. So let's go over here. I'm going to clear this out and start over. $231. And it's ticket number 142. And that belongs to Ann Lutz. Congratulations, Ann, and congratulations, Gavin. You guys are the winners tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Where should we pick them up?
I haven't gotten them from Judy and Bill yet, so I will call them tomorrow and we will get them. So, all right.
I can pick it up at Judy's house. I have some stuff for her anyway. So thank you.
All right. The only other thing is there's some open business or a new business. If there's any new business that anybody has that they would like to talk about. Other business, new business, none? Yes, Cameron.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron Batista. I've met a lot of you. I am campaign manager for the CUSD3 here in Chandler. So we have Barb Mazden, Claudia Mendoza, and Zinep Ruchanovsky. They're all running together. I just wanted to update you guys. We have a really exciting campaign launch party coming up this Saturday. It's for Claudia Mendoza on July 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. We just turned in 742 signatures for her. The minimum is 400. We collected those in under a month. And so we are really excited to have 3 strong pro-public education candidates on the ballots. So if you would like to celebrate with us, we are throwing a party, again, July 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. I will put the link in the chat, and thank you all so much.
Thank you. And this is also on our LD calendar. Okay. All right. No other new business? To have a motion to close? So moved. Does anybody want to make a motion to close the meeting?
I motion to close the meeting. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Sherry, and everyone else on the board.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wait, he's not going to thank Mitzi?
Mitzi, always, thank you.
No worries, folks.
Oh, goodness.
See you all soon.